Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. Today we've got ourselves a Tier 8 domination battle here on the estuary map. Starring, honestly I love this name, although I guarantee it's going to trigger somebody. This is Reich to bear arms in the Japanese Tier 8 battleship, the Amagi. The Amagi is one of those ships that's basically been in the game more or less unchanged since the very beginning 10 years ago. As such, there are some fairly well-defined, hard and fast rules about how this ship should best be played. Because technically the Amagi isn't actually a battleship, even though it's in the Japanese battleship line. But like other battle cruisers in battleship lines, it's a battle cruiser. It's basically extremely fast, exceptionally heavily armed, but it can't take a beating at all. The armour is pretty bad. The citadel is exposed and extends fairly high above the waterline and basically fills the entire 2/3 of the middle of the ship, if you like. Essentially, if you expose broadside to, even a cruiser at close enough ranges, in the Amagi, you are going to get paddled to within an inch of your life. You don't go brawling in an Amagi. You use the speed to get around the map, relocate quickly, and you use those 10 very accurate and extremely long range. The clue's there, right? They don't give you guns with this kind of range in order for you to get in close and brawl enemies. Not when the ship has armour as bad as this, when its broadside is as weak as this, and when it has long range and accurate guns as good as this. The clues are all there. And it's no huge secret because this ship's been in the game 10 years. And yet. And it's not just going to be Reich himself here in the Amagi. This battle is basically chock full of people doing things the way they're not really supposed to. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but you'd be surprised how often it does. Like the gallant over there. He's just popped his smoke because he got spotted in a cap circle. He doesn't want to get shot. And yet you'll note that despite deploying a smoke screen, he is still extremely visible. How can this be? Note the thick black smoke being pumped out of his funnels. He's popped his smoke screen at the same time as he's popped his engine boost. The engine boost makes you go very, very fast. And smoke only works if you're going very, very slow. You kind of need to pick one. You can't really use them both at the same time. Okay, fair enough. He doesn't like the odds in that cap circle, so he's decided to get out of there. And to be fair, he has managed to torpedo the enemy destroyer that at first it looked like he wanted to run away from. Unfortunately for him, he does appear to still be within spotting range of the Harbin, Mayhan and U-69. And he just zigged when he should have zagged straight into an island rather than continuing to boogie on the hell out of there. So while that is not the First Blood award, the gallant himself actually scored First Blood. It is Reich's first kill on the gallant that really couldn't make his mind up what he wanted to do. Quick word about the matchmaking in this battle, by the way, since things started so quickly that we never really had a chance to address it. For once, the matchmaker is not doing a terrible job. Both teams have 1 aircraft carrier and 2 submarines. Both teams had 2 destroyers, 5 battleships, and 1 extremely nervous cruiser. There's the enemy cruiser, the Yarsveld. While we're continuing the tradition of stuff that's happening that isn't supposed to happen, there's about to be a flurry of kills. There we go, the Shiratsuyu just gunned down the Mars. So, the Shiratsuyu, a torpedo destroyer, just gunned down the Mars, a gunboat destroyer, and then the Mars, which is a gunboat destroyer, just torpedoed and sank the Shiratsuyu, which is it's supposed to happen the other way around. But it's like there's no rules in today's battle. Or there are, and nobody's paying attention to them. Enemy submarine spotted. Along with the gallant, that was the only enemy vessel inside this cap circle. The team have done an excellent job in driving them out and taking this cap. And in fact, those depth charge attack planes are about to score Reich's second kill of the battle. Notice the friendly Harbin just up in front, hiding behind the island there. Wise move in a game filled with as many battleships as this. Notice the enemy Yarsveld not.
cruiser destroyed. Awaiting instructions.
And there's kill number 3, a double strike and a close quarters expert award. You're not supposed to kill things with your secondaries in an Amagi. You're never supposed to be close enough to anything to kill them with your secondaries in an Amagi. Slightly unfortunate shot there. He could have absolutely spanked the Sinop if he'd had the armor piercing loaded instead of the high explosive. He's switching to the armor piercing now, but the Sinop is probably... Well, it's not just the Sinop, there's a New Mexico over there as well. New Mexico is not as dangerous, it does only have 14-inch guns, but it has a fair amount of them, and it is getting awfully close. I'm going to say it was an unfortunate shot against the Sinop, because he had the high explosive load. He didn't do a huge amount of damage, but he was giving broadside to the Sinop, although he did seem at the last moment to start angling, but that amount of 16-inch armor piercing, I mean, it's not exactly tickling him, but it could have done substantially more damage. It's a really bad time to be in New Mexico right now. Actually, any time is a really bad time to be in New Mexico. The enemy Scharnhorst 43 just sank the friendly New Mexico, and that one looks like it's going to eat all the torpedoes. Like, literally, every single torpedo was aimed at that New Mexico. You poor bastard. Right, now there is an enemy Sinop behind that island. Reich, why are you accelerating? You're not supposed to... Oh no, what are you doing? Well, you know what they say, if it's stupid but it works. And to be fair, from this kind of angle, it's not amazingly stupid. The Amagi may be a badly armoured battleship, but it is still a battleship. It's got substantially heavier armour than a cruiser, for example. And at this kind of angle, even a cruiser can tank 16-inch armour piercing on its belt. And you'll note that he's being very careful here. I mean, he's not being tempted to expose enough broadside to get the mid and the 2 rear turrets firing, because then the Sinop would be spanking him. So it's reducing the amount of firepower you can bring to bear on the Sinop to just the 2 front turrets and their 4 16-inch guns. But he's not really getting spanked in return. He's kind of chipping away at the Sinop, and the Sinop's kind of chipping away at him. And he's reduced the throttle now as well, because he doesn't really want to go around the corner of this island, because that would be driving him into a crossfire between the Sinop up ahead and on his right flank, just on the other side of the cluster of islands there, the Scharnhorst 43, the Alabama, and the Lenin. Basically, every surviving enemy battleship. And that would be bad. Oh, bless. Did you see the Mayhan? He's dropping smoke. It's not for the Mayhan. The Mayhan is in danger of being spotted by anything here. He's dropping smoke for Reich, bless him. And I don't know if... Yeah, that was bad, but it could have been a lot worse. I'm not quite sure what Reich was doing here. I don't know if he was, despite my just singing his praises for not being tempted to do it, trying to get all of those turrets exposed. Because if he was, he took a spanking and he lost one of those turrets. Or whether or not he was going to continue the turn to starboard and try to get into the cluster of islands there where the friendly Harbin, just to his north, is taking cover. But either way, whatever he was trying really didn't work. And he is now well and truly caught in a crossfire between the Sinop up ahead and the Scharnhorst 43 and the Lenin to his right. And yep, here comes the Yorktown with its torpedo bombers. Fortunately, not fortunately for the Mayhan, he did just get himself spotted. The Sinop has automatically gone into to destroy her, kill it with fire mode, and is shooting at the Mayhan instead of Reich. Reich, I mean, that was a combination of a good torpedo dodge and the enemy Yorktown dropping the torpedoes too close. He sailed into one of them, but it didn't have time to arm. Reich is now in the unfortunate situation of having to try to angle simultaneously between the Sinop up ahead, because, yep, he is once again switching fire to Reich, and of course the Lenin and the Scharnhorst 43 on his right flank. He does have some island cover from the, those guys, and none whatsoever from the Sinop, so wisely he's choosing to angle primarily against the Sinop. He's lost an awful lot of health in the process, however, and the Sinop has not. Here comes the Yorktown again, rocket attack planes this time. And he's on very low health. And his deck armour isn't amazing. Oh, that really hurt. that hurt a lot. Oh, and there's another fire. There's the damage control. 4,000 hit points. The Sinop's sitting up there with 10 times that amount of health. He's probably going to be able to turn away. There is some good news though. The Mayhem has torpedoed and sunk the Lenin. So now he's only got the Sinop up ahead and the Scharnhorst 43 to his right, who is now basically directly ahead of him. Here comes the Yorktown again. Oh, and that was nowhere near enough damage on the Sinop. Here comes the Sinop's return. Oh, he's missed. With every single shot. The dive bombs, however, didn't. Now the Sinop, while it is a problem, it is no longer Reich's most immediate problem. That would be the Scharnhorst 43, who is well and truly inside brawling range, which is not where you're supposed to be in an Amagi. The Scharnhorst has amazing secondaries, it has 6-kilometer range torpedo, yes, he's inside torpedo range, and it has very accurate, rapid firing, high penetration 283mm guns. These things only have a 20-second reload. All the Scharnhorst has to do with any of the weapons at its disposal is 7,000 damage. Close but no cigar. 20-second reload. And let's not forget, torpedoes. You'll note that Reich is taking 0 damage from the Scharnhorst secondaries. He should be dead from them. That's because for some bizarre reason the Scharnhorst had elected to focus his secondaries on the Vladivostok, the ship with 27,000 hit points, rather than Reich, the ship with 2,000 hit points, while also launching its torpedoes at the Vladivostok. Due to what I can only describe as a sudden and, well, for Reich at least, a very fortunate rush of shit to the brain on the Scharnhorst's part, he just didn't seem to be able of picking one. And thus, Reich, against the odds, survived a point-blank range brawl with a secondary and torpedo-armed battleship. And here comes the Yorktown again. And he's back down to 2,000 hit points. And the Sinop isn't dead yet. Although, to be fair, I mean, the Sinop has done well. He was basically defending a flank that completely collapsed and got totally overrun by Reich's team. He should have been one of the first ships dead. Instead, he's one of the last 3 ships left alive. So, whatever else happens in this battle, well done to the Sinop. I suppose the Sinop staying alive this long would also count as one of those things in this battle that you just would not expect to happen. Although he's dead now, of course. He's caught in a torpedo sandwich there between the Mayhem and the U-69. And with the Sinop's somewhat inevitable destruction, that's 1,000 points in a victory for Reich to bear arms in the Amagi, that famous brawling Japanese battlecruiser. We've had it all in this battle. We have the Sinop that wouldn't die, the brawling Amagi, we've got the destroyer that thinks it can get use out of its engine boost and smoke screen at the same time. We've had gunboat destroyers being gunned down by torpedo destroyers. We've had torpedo destroyers being torpedoed by gunboat destroyers. We've got an Amagi with a Close Quarters Expert Award and a Dreadnought Award. And then to cap it all off, we've got a light cruiser, the Harbin, not only finishing... I mean, the Harbin's a good ship, so finishing third on experience earned is not surprising. But finishing at all... in a game where there are 5 battleships on the enemy team and you're the only cruiser? Oh, that's it. I give up. This game just doesn't make sense to me anymore. Hilariously and unexpectedly stupid from start to finish, but in a good way. And I hope you all enjoyed it, because that is it for today. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.